Hey, what is going on, crypto people? What the world? What's going on at the market? I'm gonna let you guys hear from two analysts today. Yeah, about Bitcoin. One I have not listened to yet. The other I've listened to. What's going on with Bitcoin right now? What's really going on right now? And I guess I got a post from on X as well. I'm gonna share. I think the guy's name's Tim Peterson. I'm gonna share that with you guys as well. Crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff going on in the market. We got to figure it out. Like I said on my video earlier today, I feel like Data Dash is saying that he got it wrong about Bitcoin. That's what it felt like. I listened to one of his videos recently, a couple of days ago while I was at the gym. Feels like he's saying, "Yeah, I got it wrong. That we could get to six figures in Bitcoin. It doesn't look like it's going to have any catastrophes going to stop it." It's kind of what he said, essentially. So what happened to the stock market, possibilities with, what happened to the freaking net liquidity arguments and stuff that made sense to me? Net liquidity definitely made sense. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll get into it. We'll see what's good. Your positions, I hope everyone's got the positions. I still got some dirty, nasty fiat in the form of stables, you know. Mm. But 95%, everything's done. 95%, pretty much everything's done. As far as positions. I don't know if I'm going to get my little 50%, 40 to 50% discount on the alts, you know, any kind of retracement to just get a discount. Everything, or is everything just going to stay green for the next, uh, what is it, 9 months to 15 months? So we'll see. South Texas crypto's in the building. What's going on, bro? Said, told you a while back to not go with Data Dash. He was wrong for a while and didn't want to say so until it broke 50K. Yeah, Data Dash, my guy Gareth Soloway was saying the same thing. Alessio Rastani was saying the same thing. He's changed a little bit in the last 30 days or so. We'll see. We shall see what's good. Look, we still got the people saying, some stuff, but those aren't my guys. I was talking about my guys. We still got people talking about. I was listening to Alessio Rastani was interviewing a guy the other day talking about a triple top for Bitcoin. A triple top, the dude said. What the world? Talking about a triple top, and Bitcoin could range between, the all-time high is 69, to 16,000 for years for a full another cycle. What's a triple top? I have no idea. Don't know what that is. Had another guy, Ari Paul, talks about the fifth inning. We're in the fifth inning for Bitcoin, and it's typically a big damaging year for digital assets, digital time for digital assets. The fifth inning, I don't know. So, but we're going to listen to Benjamin Cohen, and we're going to listen to Blockchain Backer. Let you guys take a listen to that for sure. For sure. For sure. So we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, bags are packed, but I just wanted some wanted some more discounts. We'll see. He's a good dude, says so. Data Dash, yeah, he is a good dude. He's a good dude, but wants to feel like there are answers, and in crypto there are no answers. LOL is too out, too fully predict. Yeah. Well, we look, these ETFs are something. They're making the move. I don't know if Pompliano is right, talking about, look, the supply demand thing is definitely a deal. You know what I feel like? With that Vanguard firing, you guys hear Vanguard CEO got fired, right? Well, he didn't get fired, he resigned, right? Remember, he was coming out publicly not too long ago, like 2-3 weeks ago. Vanguard CEO, Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, no, we'll let BlackRock and Fidelity, and little Cathie Wood, do their thing. And then record ETF volume, records set. And then all of a sudden he's resigning. Yeah. No. Nah, the board is like, see you later, baby. You're done. The board was like, you got to go. Oh, end of day, no one knows. Crypto does what it wants when it wants. Steve from CCU has called triple top for over a year. It's interesting. I don't know who Steve from CCU is. 80K, then crashed to 35K, then ranged for years. That's what this guy was saying, something like that, saying like that 70, he said 16 and do that for years. I don't know what that looks like. I just know we need the Bitcoin dominance to get up to that 60 to 65% so that the flipping can happen. That's what I know. That's when I know it's time. Pookie's in the building. What's going on, my friend? If I don't get my discounts, it's fine. I'm good, but I just want it. Just want it. Just one more discount. Give me 30%. Give me 30%, so I could, do away with this little sideline stuff I got going on. With this dirty, nasty fiat. That's right. Like C, South Texas Crypto says, like C says, the market will do what the market does. That's what it. Pookie, what's going on, my friend? Somebody's still going to jail. Yeah, we'll see. Eathgate, we'll see. We'll see. It looks like Jimmy Valley and Fruition Productions, they ain't letting go of nada. Remember we asked on the channel, South Texas Crypto. We asked on the channel, Jimmy Valley and the team have been really, really quiet, after trying to do PSAs to keep the community up to date. They said, the heck with that. It's just too much negative stuff with that. They're really, really quiet. Now all of a sudden they're going to do a documentary. Interesting. I think the people that they asked to participate in the documentary are interesting. Interesting. Even more interesting are the people they didn't ask to participate in that documentary. Interesting stuff. So, but in any case, we'll see. We'll see if someone goes to jail. You guys want to hear from Benjamin Cowan first, or you want to hear from Blockchain Back? I have not listened to that dude in a while. Didn't listen to that dude in a while. Which one you guys want to hear from first? Probably Blockchain Backer. Digital Asset Conductor, what's going on, my friend? Another great crypto cycle. This is an underrated channel, sir. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. Hit that like button on the way in. And if you didn't get a chance to do so, no worries. Just collapse the chat. Go back and smash the like and come back and hang out with the Crypto Siege. South Texas Crypto. Vanguard CEO. Yeah, he was voluntold to leave. That's exactly right, baby. That's one of the great F-ups in history. Bitcoin ETFs. We'll let them do it. That's not a good look right there, babe. Record history for ETFs. History. And you didn't get none, and you could have. Yeah, not a great move right there. Not a great move. Let's listen to Blockchain Backer first. Now, so I haven't listened to this video, but you see what he's got to say about this market going on right now. Let's take a listen to Blockchain Backer. I don't know. FLR is looking fantastic right now. I don't know. Seems like it's I don't want to say a no-brainer, but it just feels like a no-brainer. I don't want to say it's a no-brainer, but it feels like it. All right, let's listen to Blockchain Backer. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's go here. What does BCB have to say right now? Blockchain Backer. I think Blockchain Backer still like, hey, what is going on, crypto? That's not what I want. Where is my thing? Let's take a listen.
Today, we're going to be taking a look over here at the Bitcoin price chart as the price has cleared through all retracement levels over here, much stronger than I anticipated it to be. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the location of where Bitcoin is, the location of where the total market cap of all of crypto is, and the location of the total altcoin market cap, and how these have been very similar to things we have seen in the past. For example, when Bitcoin got back through all the retracement levels back in 2020 here in November, that is also the exact time the total market cap got back to the 702 Fibonacci retracement level, just as it is right now. Also, when Bitcoin got back to this level in November of 2020, the altcoin market was battling here underneath the 50% retracement level, but above the 382, which also happens to be where the altcoin market cap is right now. So right now, we have the altcoin market, the total market, and Bitcoin all at the same locations as they were in 2020 for both Bitcoin, the total market cap, and the altcoin market cap at the deciding point, at the decision point before Bitcoin broke into its all-time high, the total market cap crypto cleared through the 702 retracement, and the altcoin market went on an epic run. But as we sit here right now, there are a few things that have me scratching my head that I want to share with you. We'll need to talk about Bitcoin, the altcoin market, the stock market, gold, the Fed funds rate, and even the reverse repo facility. As we all sit here now waiting to see, will this thing actually blast out like it did back in 2020? And outside of looking at just, hey, we're at the exact same places as we were, do we also have all the exact same conditions lining up as we did back then? Now, in this video, I am going to end up taking out a lot of the fun of Bitcoin, a lot of the narratives, a lot of the romance and stories when it comes to things like the block reward halving, and when it comes to things of it being its own asset, not correlated to anything. We're going to show those extreme correlations that happen, and we are actually going to dismantle the block reward halving. It is of no surprise that the price could do this prior to the block reward halving, because historically, the block reward halving actually doesn't matter. And we'll talk about that, but we'll pay attention to things that have actually historically been important. I write a newsletter over here on Substack at blockchainbacker.substack.com, and I just released a newsletter yesterday talking about Bitcoin's euphoric ascent in an absence of breadth. It's rare that I actually show the contents of the newsletter here on the YouTube videos, but I actually am going to show a lot of this stuff in here and to show you exactly what I'm talking about with the correlation of Bitcoin to the stock market in this just giant glaring missing element. And the question now remains of whether or not Bitcoin is giving signal of that element is going to arrive, or is there some trickery at play? First of all, let's just talk about the timing of where we're at with Bitcoin, where we're at with the altcoin market, and how we're doing. One, is it appropriate to even be doing this and getting back to the all-time high based on time, right? Block reward halving theory suggests that we shouldn't be doing something like this until after the halving. During all the negative price action, we went through it all of 2022 and 2023 to say it is clearly evident the top of the market is not here. While the price goes a little higher here in Bitcoin, we don't see that throughout the rest of the market, and all indicators suggest that the peak of the market actually was when Coinbase IPO'd. We've talked about that tremendously. If I flip us over to the monthly time frame and I take the price candles off the screen and we just look down here to say where were peaks of the markets, you would say, hey, here is the technical peak of the market. You could see this is where everything falls off of a cliff. You could see this is where everything falls off of a cliff. The weakness of the market emerged there. And then when we go look at the actual price chart, we could see the peak of the market is back here in April of 2021. So is it inappropriate for price to be at this location this deep into it? Nope, it seems okay. You can also see that in things represented here like Dogecoin when you look back to how long that 2018 bear was in there and how long it's been in there and here. These times are not too far off from each other of how long these things went on for. Again, this also reiterates the peak back in April and in May, and that you're approaching an appropriate amount of time. You can see that evident over here in Litecoin as well, where the peak comes in, where you're at. You're at it to start getting moving here in the cryptocurrency market. So I don't find price action to be occurring here to actually not be odd that it's happening before the block reward halving, because we've spent a tremendous amount of time trying to disprove it. I've even written a long thread about this over there on Twitter back in May of last year. So 10 months ago, saying that the Bitcoin block reward halving is an urban myth of the cause of price action. So even if you actually just believe in timed cycles, it's actually not really off. But the question comes to all the other elements exist for us to actually be able to escape and for things to get exciting. We know that these market caps have gotten back to these same levels. Altcoin market cap gotten back to the exact same level. It was this moment, it was being able to break from this moment in time that actually was sending everything catapulting with big percentages. So I think to myself, can I look around and see evidence suggesting that we're right on that moment? And that's where we get into this thing and how important that is. And that the price action that we're seeing right now, it just solidifies the proof. The block reward halving has never been the catalyst. And right now, I'm going to show you evidence. It's been the stock market. But there's a few major indexes we need to know about with the United States stock market. And that's going to be the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which we pull up here on the channel all the time. That consists of 30 large companies, and you're probably very familiar with a lot of them, such as Microsoft.
Okay, so he's saying all the stuff that kind of correlates, and it's not necessarily so much the happenings to the price, it's been the stock market. That's interesting. Interesting. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. Digital Asset Conductor says, can we get this channel to 100K subscribers by the end of the cycle? Yeah, let's do that. Can we get that? Can we make that happen? Let's go. That shadow ban was long. South Texas Crypto says, love BCB, but even he was adamant that Bitcoin would not break 52K. That's when we should have known it would. Yeah, 52K. So yeah, it's interesting stuff. So, it's also a very, very interesting thing too. You always got to consider is where the people are in the market. 98% of people do not have one Bitcoin or multiple Bitcoins. So you get all these TAs and all these trading stuff and all this stuff, whether it be blockchain backer or data. A lot of them have multiple BTCs, right? Lots of BTCs, lots of ETH. Well, my guy, Virtual, has hundreds of both, right? And so for most people, it is like it should be what like it started when I got into the market in 2016, 2017, where every day it was said, yeah, the reason why you're in these alts is so that you can get more BTC. I hardly ever hear anyone say that nowadays. But that's what they used to say back in the day. The reason why you're in the alts is so that you can get more BTC. Taking the the spare of change of that dirty nasty fiat that you have and going into Bitcoin at these prices when you can't get a one, it's the better bang for the dollar, in my humble opinion, is in the alts. And then when your alts do their thing, when you finally are in a position where you can say, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 BTC, then you play that rotation game with BTC and alts, BTC and alts, BTC and alts. But if you're not there, you got to start with the alts. You got to start where you are. You got to get these alts. You got to get these significant, these significant 6 figures or 7 figures and multi 7 figures of alt wins where you can then get some BTC wins, right? And then, of course, the rotation of BTC and the alts is not 100% of the BTCs. Generally, people keep 50, 60, keep 35, 40% of the BTC. They always keep that and then just rotating the other part. Anyway, stock market. Let's continue to listen to BCB.
Microsoft, Goldman Sachs, Home Depot, McDonald's, Visa, Boeing, Nike, Amazon, Coca-Cola, Walmart, etc. You're likely very familiar with nearly all of the companies in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is 30. Then you're going to have the Standard & Poor's, which is the S&P 500, which is 500 large cap companies, the NASDAQ, which was 3,700 companies of all different sizes. But then you have the Russell 2000, which is 2,000 small cap companies. And you're probably not going to be familiar with a significant percentage of the companies that are the small caps in there, such as like Stoke Therapeutics or Red River Bankshares or Zumiez or Limoniera, Full House Resorts, right? Generation Bio. But what we're going to talk about is expansion happening throughout the United States stock market and how that has been correlated to Bitcoin's price action. And when there hasn't been expansion, what happened to Bitcoin's price action. So to understand what I mean by expansion, I'm talking about the whole market running together. Large caps, mid caps, small caps, all caps. Everybody's going on a bull run. That is where the breadth of a market opens up. Everything rocks and rolls, and it's a good time. That's where you have the Dow Jones, the 30 big caps, and then the Russell 2000, the 2000 small caps. Everybody's going. It's a party. Let's rock. Like we did right here after the great financial crisis, where they both break out from each other 60 days apart from each other. Another example of expansion is like with Bitcoin and the altcoin market. Bitcoin gets through its all-time high, the whole market expands with it. When this occurred back in 2013, believe it or not, that's the start of the 2013 bull run. Stock market expands. Bitcoin, after spending nearly 2 years in a bear market, of 2011, 2012, and there we go to start 2013. It breaks through its all-time high as the stock market is expanding. Again, it's important to remember these events actually happen 60 days apart from each other, where the Russell breaks out and the Dow Jones breaks out. 60 days is how long it took. Because what's also interesting is that when we move over to 2016, when the Dow Jones broke out and went into its big bull run of 2017, the Russell 2000, the small caps of the market, also broke out and went with it. And what's amazing about it is they happen on the exact same day. So the whole market is expanding. It's not just the top 30 market caps that are running, it's the whole market running together. Sure enough, what does Bitcoin do? Spends years in a bear market. It escapes from the bear market as the expansion is going on throughout the United States stock market, and off and away Bitcoin goes into the 2017 famous bull run. The story was also exactly the same over here in 2020. We saw expansion occurring at the exact same time, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average taking off, the breadth of the market opening up, all the small caps running with it, and the Russell 2000 takes off and soars with it. Again, it happens on the exact same day. Boom, off and away it goes. What happens to Bitcoin? There we go. We break from a multi-year bear market. We escape with it too during an expansion. What I have just shown you is that the 2013, 2017, and 2021 bull runs for Bitcoin were all correlated to expansion in the stock market. Definitely not block reward halvings. But one thing to take note of is back in 2019, the Dow Jones Industrial Average actually did set a new all-time high. This is before COVID happened. And what you'll notice here is that the Russell 2000 did not follow and expand into new highs like the Dow Jones did. Remember 2013, where it takes 60 days? 2016, where it happens on the same day? 2020, where it happens on the same day? For some reason, the Russell 2000 did not follow along. It was unable to take out its previous all-time high, and nearly 100 days elapsed here with the Dow Jones just hovering up in here, with the Russell unable to get through. It did not follow because the market wasn't truly expanding. It wasn't a real bull run. And at that time, Bitcoin didn't fall for it either. Bitcoin stayed down and depressed and sad, never able to escape. So I ask myself, well, we have Bitcoin all the way back up here. We've got all these market caps doing what they did before the 2020 bull run took off. It's like, hey, are we looking like we were back in 2020 with the US stock market, where the Dow's back at its high trying to break out, the Russell is trying to break out? We like back in 2016 where the Dow is breaking out and expansion is happening and the breadth of the market is opening up to small and mid caps, and the Russell is breaking out to send Bitcoin euphoric? Or is it like 2013 where the Russell's leading the way and the expansion has already started and small caps are just rocking and rolling, which has been the case for the 2013, 2017, and 2021 bull runs, is that the timing of Bitcoin's breakouts have been correlated to expansions in the stock market. People love to say Bitcoin's not correlated to the stock market because we can look at the days of the action in here and we're not acting exactly on cue with every single day. But there's no question of this correlation happening in here, that when there is an expansion happening throughout the United States stock market, Bitcoin either goes with it or can call its bluff and doesn't expand with it because it's not expanding. And so the most curious thing to me is, are we expanding? If the stock market is expanding, let's go. The problem is it's not even close. It's the worst breadth of a market that we've ever seen, where the market is extremely consolidated into just a few assets that are holding up the whole stock market. It's more than a few, but from a percentage standpoint of how many they are, it's all the big names we keep hearing about. But when we look at the small caps of the market, there's something fundamentally happening here where there's not an expansion happening in the market. An example of that is like back in 2021, where Bitcoin goes and sets a new high in November with Ethereum and Solana. But like we showed, 90% of the market all topped back here in April and in May, where the technical top was. Assets were consolidating in the cryptocurrency market in November of 2021 rather than expanding throughout the whole market. As we know, that's also the same condition that we have here in the United States stock market, where the big cap, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, they're all up here at these 4.236 extensions. Yet we have this breadth situation where most of the stock market topped back in here in late 2021, which is similar to like what we saw back in 2019. What was also similar to 2019, which was different from 2013, 2017, and 2020, is that we were not in a restrictive monetary policy environment. When the 2013 breakout happened, rates were at zero, QE era. When the 2016 breakout happened, rates were at 0.25%. When we had the breakout of 2020, rates were at zero. However, in this one, where the Russell did not follow along, we were coming off of a hiking cycle going into cutting, and everything collapsed. So here we are after a hiking cycle. We're paused. The Dow's up. NASDAQ's up, but like 2019 and 20, the Russell is not following along and expanding like it did in 2013, 2016, and 17, where it's on the same day, or 2020, where again, it's on the same day. Like I showed earlier, the longest gap between the Dow and the Russell being able to expand and the breadth opening up was 60 days. And even in that environment, the Russell went 60 days before the Dow. We're now like 80 days later, and the Russell is still nowhere close, right? But I think one of the biggest takeaways to see here is how these multi-year bears for Bitcoin play out, and how those breakouts, those true expansions of the market, all occur when there's expansion and breadth opening over there in the United States stock market at the exact same time. I talk about it how it's unequivocal, it's non-debatable, it's not an opinion piece. The block reward halving is an opinion piece because the data is so inconsistent. It's up for people to have an opinion, that's fine, but this isn't opinionated. This is unequivocal data. You can't argue it. It just happens. The market expands, Bitcoin goes. The market expands, Bitcoin goes. The market expands, Bitcoin goes. The one time where this market didn't expand, Bitcoin didn't go. So what is the thing we need? We essentially need to see alt season happen in the United States stock market and for the breadth to open up throughout the United States stock market. Fortunate thing for it is, it also is Wyckoff accumulation. The structure it has is more of
BCBs, good stuff. Good stuff. Trevor Conte's in the building. What's going on, my guy? Paul Bogle says backers going to get everyone's wrecked. That's some interesting data there. I mean, the data is there. It's there. It's interesting how you can pull those correlations together with the stock market, which is what Gareth Salloway was saying. Gareth Salloway is saying, if there's this thing that goes on in the stock market, Bitcoin can go get a 30%, pullback, retrace, whatever they call it these days. But Blockchain Backer is pointing out when Bitcoin goes, it is correlated to the expansion of the markets, with all three, with the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the Russell. So, and he calls that the stock market expansion. I mean, he's showing the charts. There it is. It's right there. So it's interesting to see. It is really, really interesting to see that. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, it's funny, right? Because BCB will say Bitcoin's not going to do this. So this is why I'm taking my profit at this price, right? When he takes his profit, he always takes his profit. When I've watched him, it's always 15, 20% less than, and it's 65%, right? He keeps 35%. But it's always interesting when he does his prices, when he decides to exit his position. He's always short. He never is at the peak. And I wonder, isn't that a good thing? that he's not doing at the top, that he's playing the percentages, right? BC, 300% up. But he's saying, this is where I'm going to exit my position. I don't think it's going to whatever. He's still 300% up on his BCP, right? So it's interesting stuff. So calling tops, I don't think that's what he does. I don't think anyone does, tops or bottoms, but he has an interesting strategy for sure. For sure. So, but that's interesting. Expansion, stock market expansion. What do you guys think about that? That's interesting. I mean, it's showing right there in the charts what it is. When expansion happened, Bitcoin did its thing. When expansion happened, Bitcoin did its thing. Interesting that he calls out the halvening. So many people rely on this halvening and use this halvening as their confirmation for something happening. And I know Benjamin Cohen, with his website into the cryptoverse and all his charts and all that stuff, a lot of it has to do. He does analysis and charts around the halvening. Look, the halvening is what it is, right? I mean, the hash rate, the cutting of it, it is what it is. I mean, that's a factual thing. It happens. Well, BCB is saying that that's not tied to, the asset appreciating in value in terms of what's causing the bull runs for Bitcoin. Interesting stuff. Trevor LeConte says, is he bullish now? Missed it. I think he's still, I think he is, because Bitcoin went through all the retracement, cleared all the retracements. But what he's talking about in this video here is, when are we going to get that, that thing? Going to get that, whatever, all-time high. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll see about this. I've never heard of the expanded stock market thing before. I just heard, Bitcoin is tied to the stock market, blah, 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 blah. I've never heard, all three. So we'll see. We'll see. It'd be interesting. It would be nice to have a thing, for sure. I mean, what did he do? 23, he did 2013, 2017, I feel like 2020. He did 3 or 4 bull runs, showing that correlation with the expanded stock market. In other words, the Russell and the Dow, within a same day to 60-day window of expanding. We showed it, shows the chart. So, well, it's going to be interesting to see in any case. But it's right now, the Russell's way behind. My guy Benjamin Cohen is saying his 3 or 4 months before we get to a 2-year time frame. Bitcoin is currently undervalued. We need it to be in the overvalued thing. That's when the BTC flips from BTC into the alts, when it's overvalued. So, yeah. Yeah, and so you definitely don't want to be, shorting the market, right? Like, can't be shorting. I mean, the trend is what it is. It's just, it is there. Paul Bogle says the shorts are getting wrecked week to week, all predicting 30 to 40% pullback, and it hasn't happened yet. And all along, missing out on great gains. Yeah. Yeah, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened yet. So, and I don't think BCB is saying that it's going to happen. What BCB is saying is, what it sounds like he's saying in that video is, the thing that we want isn't going to happen until we get this expanded stock market breakout. So, yeah. So, and Russell is ready. So let's continue listening. So I don't think he's saying that there's going to be a pullback. He's saying that the Bitcoin doing its crazy thing so that the alts can do their thing is correlated to an expanded stock market breakout, which includes the Russell, NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones. That's my understanding of it. All right, let's listen to some more here. Let's see. Isn't it cool to learn? It's so cool to learn. So no, I don't think he's I don't think he's calling for 30 and 40% pullbacks. Not that he's not saying that. I don't think that's what he's saying in this video. What he's saying in this video is, when does Bitcoin typically break new all-time highs, which eventually turns into alts rising, is when we have an expanded stock market, which includes all three of those markets. Let's see. Let's share it again. That's my understanding. Let's see where he says the Russell is right now, because apparently the Russell is 80. It's been 80 days since the Dow Jones has done their thing, and the Russell hasn't done anything yet. So let's see.
The spring phase of Wyckoff accumulation happening in here. Again, the sign of strength phase that has shown up in there, right on top. That's really what you look for sign of strength phase happening in there. But we desperately need to see it if we want to have any level of confidence that this is good because it was good before, and that this is good because it was good before. The conditions that were existing in there were expansions, just like we've seen in the past bull runs. Next, we're actually going to talk about gold. In my previous newsletter, I talked about the great market convergence with Bitcoin, stocks, and gold, and how gold has even given us a signal throughout history and in the last 15 years. And if gold closes where it's going to close today, it's going to close its highest daily and weekly candles in history. Now, the interesting thing about gold is when we do have those periods of expansion in the market where the Russell is running and the Dow is running, gold typically is very weak and it breaks down during those moments. As we can see here back in 2013, during the 2013 bull run for crypto and the stock market, gold gets wrecked. At the time, the federal funds rate was sitting there at 0. However, when there was that rally that happened there for the Dow Jones Industrial Average prior to the great financial crisis, gold didn't get wrecked in that breakout. It wasn't worried about it. And at that time, the federal funds rate had been paused, and we actually had just finished a hiking cycle when the Dow broke out into its new all-time high. The Fed starts cutting, the Dow tops, gold breaks out and goes. It marks the top of the stock market. The little rally that we just talked about in 2019 where the Russell didn't follow along with it, we had just gotten done with a hiking cycle here for the federal funds rate. We were setting this new high in the Dow. The Russell was not following. The Russell was not expanding. And gold had been climbing its way up and did not get wrecked during this breakout and actually called the bluff. The top comes in. Gold breaks up the second that top comes in, which we can see more closely right in here. Then you move over to 2020, where we saw the expansion happen in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The expansion happened in the Russell 2000. Gold is getting hammered during that expansionary period that's happening there while we're on a 0 Fed funds rate. Even that 2016 breakout where the Russell and the Dow break out on the exact same day. Look at this. Gold gets pummeled during that breakout that happens for the stock market. In that time, the Fed funds rate was sitting just off of 0. As you can see, stock market rips, gold stays in its bear market. Yet here we are with gold up near the all-time highs, not breaking down from this Dow Jones Industrial Average break into a new all-time high, while the Russell 2000 is still lagging way behind. Gold is not getting crushed as if we were in an expansion like we've seen in 2013, 2016, and 2020, all the years of when the Bitcoin bull run started and when the equity bull run started. Gold is still holding up very strong, just as it has done with each hiking cycle before we move into a cutting cycle, which is far different than what happens during expansionary periods. So what is so fascinating about this particular moment in time is we have these elements in the crypto market of exactly what they looked like before the big epic rally that lasts a couple of months and everything goes euphoric. And we're even really just kind of right on time for that to be happening. And even the altcoin market is doing that. But the most bizarre things that exist out there is that the times that we have done it have been in near 0 rate environments where it's credit creation galore, not a restrictive environment like we have right now. We also don't have gold breaking down as we should in an expansionary period, as gold threatens to break out just like it did after each prior hiking cycle where gold goes roaring during cuts in loosening financial conditions. That there's no breakdown happening here in this environment, and there's no opening of breadth or expansion in the United States stock market which has been the case for every Bitcoin bull run, whether we look at 2020, 2016, and 2017, or even 2013. For all three major bull runs, you have an entirely different financial condition. Gold is acting entirely different, and equity markets are acting entirely different than every bull run in history for Bitcoin. So it begs the big question of, is Bitcoin a leading indicator for what's about to happen with the rest of the markets? Or are the rest of the markets giving us a sign of something else? The most common thing we all do is we like to say, this time is different. And we attach ourselves to whatever narrative we actually end up having. Look at every bottom, look at every top. There's some type of narrative to go with it to say this time is different. And so the thing that I'll be cheering for, in somehow, some way, some type of magical unicorn fairy dust, that we do actually have Wyckoff accumulation over here in the Russell 2000, and that we do actually see expansion happen in markets. And this is not such a narrowly defined rise in markets, but becomes more spread out. Because like I said, it's unequivocal. It's been mandatory in every bull run for Bitcoin, whether it's 2021, 2017, or 2013. It's all right on time. It's all with an expansion. It's all with an opening of breadth. And right now, we're knocking on the door of that answer getting told to us, as every single one of these things are precisely where they should be at that major resistance level that actually ended up being the breakouts to send the thing catapulting. But we have to get through there first. And you would think that some of these can.
Yeah, so what I'm getting, well, that's interesting stuff. And so what I'm getting from that is, are we going to get the change in the rates or not? Are we going to get that? And that will signal that gold is going to do what it typically does to allow for the BTC thing to actually happen. So, it's seeming like the rate cut thing needs to change. We need to change from the QEQT thing. And what's going to cause something like that to happen? I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening anytime soon, because right now, even though, whatever was going on with the Russell ain't happening, stock market, as far as those big entities are doing okay. So we'll see. Trevor Conte says, Fed's speaker today, I said 3 cuts this year. The other said maybe 0. So we need that to change, right? So we need the rates to change, need that QE, thing, the flippening. And then we'll see what happens, and then we'll see what happens. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see, because those are some interesting points for me. So definitely some food for thought. Because he does factor gold in there as well. So he's tying it all together, which is interesting, I think. I think that's a really good video. I hope you guys listen to the rest of that for sure. It's really, really sharp guy. I'm going to hop off here, but I did want to share that with you guys to kind of get an idea. It's been a while since I've done a kind of video about blockchain backer for sure. It's been a minute. I've been talking about Data Dash and Gareth Soloway and Lester Astani, but I haven't done one on blockchain backer in a while. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So these are things to look for. Look for the cuts. Right. Look for the cuts. Look for gold. Is gold gonna? He's saying right now. He's saying, as of yesterday's video, I guess it was, that gold topped the highs in the weekly, and was it the weekly and the daily for gold? So look for that. Because historically, gold, was kind of going the other way when Bitcoin was doing its thing. So I'm going to look for that. Definitely going to look for what the Fed's going to do and when that's going to happen. See if that QEQ thing is going to change. And then we'll pay attention to the Russell 2000. We'll pay attention to that and see if that begins to move as well. So there it is, fam. Thank you so much for hanging out. It's been a really, really cool hang. Trevor Conte, Paul Bogo, appreciate you guys. Texas Crypto, I appreciate you checking in. Digital Asset Conductor, I appreciate each and every one of you that checked in tonight. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you enjoyed hanging out, watching the Crypto Seas, please consider subscribing to the channel. And don't forget to ring that notification bell, baby, so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See you.